Subal, there were already 73 views for your Bhakta course. 7 minutes ago. Nice. People who saw something.
Oh, I thought they had abonniert.
Okay, so Charush. Okay, Charu, you can put the camera on me. So maybe Sujata, you want to come a little bit closer. And Subal, as you feel. So the Prabhus are on this side? It was not this. Just went here. Yes, come a little closer. Okay, so should I wait a moment that people come, or should I begin? For those who are at home or who listen later, please get yourself comfortable. Even in sitting position or with your japa bead bag or like this ready. And if I begin to talk about the topic, and we will make 2 exercises today. But just try to gather a few more people here. Maybe 1, 2. Nice. If I was listening live, I would probably be, okay, let me get a glass of water, maybe get a good cushion, sit nicely, should be in the right position, adjust the lighting so it's not disturbing in any way. Because the last 3 sessions were on yojana or alignment. So it was understanding this point that the main aspect is not, of course, how the body is, but if you sit in a position which is completely uncomfortable, just because you think it may be yogic or the right position, and the only thing you can think about is, oh, my knee hurts, or like this, and cannot concentrate, and there's no point. So it's better to sit in a position which works. And if the mind is constantly racing about, that was the second point, then it's hard to concentrate, right? Because wherever the mind flickers, like now it flickers everywhere, right? We bring it back to this one point, back onto the japa. And the third part that we covered last time was trying to align or have our hearts at least theoretically open to the Lord. Let's have it open as much as we can. Understanding this point, we move on to the topic of Sambandha, chanting in relationship to the Lord. So, Emma, please. Let's grab a cushion and sit where you feel comfortable, maybe yes. Nice. So when we understand that we are chanting for the Lord. We have people, devotees who have chanted maybe a longer period of time. Some, was it your first day, Emma, today? Oh wow, amazing, first day. Some for a few years, a couple of years, yes. So Sujata, how long have you been chanting for? 1 year. 1 year. So online we have people who've been chanting for a few weeks, a year, a few years, and I also have, I think, a couple of devotees who've been chanting like over 20 years. So the Japa Workshop is open for all. For those of us who've been chanting longer, it takes a little bit of bravery to come and maybe admit, okay, or say, I chant when I'm okay, but let me try to deepen that sort of aspect of my, in this regards, my relationship with Krishna. This word Sambandha means bound together. The Sam means together and Bandha means bound. So we're talking about how we bind ourselves together with our chanting. How can we understand that this chanting will bind us to Krishna? This is not just something that we vow that we will do or that we are told we have to do, but the fact that actually chanting the holy name will bring us into the presence of the Lord. Satyananda Swami writes in this book, as most of you know, I read or I take a lot from the books from the Living Name. This course is based on the systematic approach that he has there. So Sambandha means that I am a part of Krishna. Now the workshop that we do is really trying to understand or practice this. It's not just a theoretical course in that way. Later it said when we will chant the holy name free from offenses and our relationship with Krishna will become clear. A direct quote from Prabhupada's purport in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. By the practice of devotional service beginning with hearing and chanting, the impure heart of a conditioned soul is purified, and thus he can understand his eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That eternal relationship is described by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jivire Svarupahaya Krishnaya Nitya Dasa. The living entity is an eternal servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When one is convinced about this relationship, which is called Sambandha, he then acts accordingly. When we go deeper into this, try to understand this point, at least in theory, unless it's gone a bit deeper. What is it like to have a relationship with Krishna? Some may say, I don't know, just beginning. Or I thought I was close, but I'm not sure. What is it? What is understanding this part of the relationship with Krishna? And then when we go closer into it and we try to understand this point, I belong to you, Krishna. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he offers guidelines that help to fix the mind on the soul's true connection with Krishna. And so it's quite practical, his approach. He tries to ask these three questions. The first question being, who am I? Who am I? Any ideas? Krishna, okay, she was listening already. Krishna does. So directly is the answer that we are a devotee of the Lord. The next part, so to whom do I relate? So who am I? Okay, let me say Bhakta, or the Bhaktin, devotee of the Lord. To whom do I relate? I approach the Supreme Lord Krishna, so Bhagavan, the next B. We have somebody I know who likes acronyms. We have three B's here, right? Bhakta. Next one is Bhagavan. And the third question is, where does this relationship take place? Where do we enter into this relationship? Bhakti, well done, well done. So through the process of devotional service, so chanting is a limb of bhakti, we enter into this place. It's like to say, okay, Mariana is my friend. When did you last speak to her? Oh, 20 years ago. It's like, oh, best friend. Best, like, what's going on then there? You know what happened along the way? It's one point to say, okay, I know who I am, and I know there is God. But what's happening to realize that relationship, right? It's a process. Here in the temple, we're very used to this word of service, but Sambandha relationships sometimes can be in the background. So here, let's bring it to the foreground. Everything that we do in a relationship with the Lord is based on establishing something. And going deeper, establishing a broken relationship. Essentially, if we got this point, unfortunately I'm not saying I have it, but we've got this point, I am part of Krishna. You know, I'm not Krishna, but I'm part of Krishna. And when I enter into chanting the holy names, I'm entering into a space where I'm trying to truly connect of something which I am eternally a part of. This is this is part of our material concept in the fact that a lot of the time we feel disconnected, right? We are chanting, we try to do some service, something is happening in our lives, but often there's a sort of level of disconnection or partial connection. You know, like, I think he's there, I think God is there. No, I'm sure he is. Is he? You know, like, is he? Yes? Subal nods at me, yeah? Marianne is looking like, yeah, like in the fog sometimes, oh? I think I saw him, oh, but actually, of course, oh no, the Lord is really there, you know? We have learned initiative here. So one can say that we are always with the Lord. And often, I've said this point, but I'll say it again. If we really were 100% aware that the God is right here, right in front of us, would it be a different way that we would be sitting or even being in the temple? Like say when a guru comes or somebody senior, one is a little bit like, you know, not quite straight backed, one is a little, you know, a little unsure, a little like this, even the most senior, you know, or you're bowing down, those who know. And in our relationship with the Lord, we do, of course, do this. But sometimes we're like, okay, yes, he's, you know, he's here in deity form. So that's the point. Of course, I'm not talking about or belittling any internal relationship, of course. Of course, we may go deep. It's just to bring it more to the forefront. Bhaktivinoda Thakur talking about this point, these 3 points. Says the greatest problem of material life is that we forgot that we have a completely different identity to the one we have temporarily assumed right now. I was just in Golokadam, and Sachinanda Swami again brought up this point. We believe that this world outside, you know, when we have to earn or work 9 to 5, earn our daily bread, so to say, we believe this world outside is real life. We believe all those things that give us hardship or distress, or the parts that, yeah, this is, you know, that's what real life is about. You know, I have to get back to real life. But it's not true. Not our understanding, at least in Bhakti Yoga. True life is that relationship with Krishna, that eternal spark with Krishna. Those moments that you will feel that joy and that happiness, and that you think, okay, that was just some nice feeling I had for a moment, or some fun, or like this. Easily, I notice in myself, the mind pushes it away. Oh, I have to get back then to the whatever needs to be done. Yeah, some mother to the child stuff, some other people, some administration. But actually, what is it truly like to live with God? To have Him flow, you know, in our lives. Sometimes when we see our gurus, we can actually picture what it means to live with God. You know, you see a certain bliss or happiness that's not quite describable. You know they're not just happy because they got a good plate of prasadam or something else is going on in the dialogue. And that's definitely one aspect that we work with today. Sometimes when I've done this exercise, for some people it can feel a little bit cosmic, can I say? Because Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he uses these examples, I will go through them soon, in trying to understand and put us into, trying for us to understand that we are this part and parcel of Krishna. So sometimes we've done this exercise and people sort of see them as this tiny dot, you know, and connect with Krishna. And this time when I was going through my notes, I saw it a little bit differently. I imagine just as a body needs to function, just as you may go outside in the cold and you put a glove on a hand. And then I read, we are part of Krishna. We are part of Him. We're actually deeply connected with Him. You know, when you say, okay, I have to put a glove on my hand, you don't think, oh, I have to help the hand. It's just part of you, right? You just work with it. How would it be then to really understand I'm really helping the divine here, something which I'm just a tiny, molecule of, but something bigger. Not to distance ourselves, something, again, distance, but this is something very deeply a part of who I am. Bear with me in this moment. And that's the element that we understand here, that we have a relationship, and that relationship that will always be there is with Krishna. At moments in our lives, we may feel that this relationship is broken, but it's a relationship that can be always repaired. There may be outside relationships we have with friends, family, outside people. You say the relationship is irreparable, right? But it's not the case of Krishna. At any moment, Krishna is waiting for us to turn to him. Again, Satchidananda Swami made this point that we still have to make that endeavor, that he sees that we are trying to turn towards him. Because also when we turn away from him, he also allows us to flow wherever we need to go, be it into Maya or the deeper regions of hell. It's also there described, right? So there, our small endeavor is just turn it towards him. Now, as I've heard from many people, our problem with our wonderful phones is that multitasking, it was written down, don't multitask japa. Usually, before multitasking was a good word, that you could do many things simultaneously. But this is a terrible word when it relates with japa, Here, hand in your bag, and then, but they just wrote, and I'm just quickly, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, it's like this. So this is another thing now. I would only say of the last 5 to 10 years, because before the phones were not smart as they are now, they couldn't do much, right? So now we have this problem that we are faced or bombarded with maybe, and it could be a good devotee difference. Didn't you see the message I sent you? How long? 5 minutes ago. I needed an urgent reply. And you're like, I was just trying to chant. And sometimes they're like, I'm sorry, Prabhu. Otherwise it might be, yes, but I needed an urgent reply. So what's happening then here? This is really, I find it's very difficult. I have to be honest and say sometimes I've put my phone in the cupboard, in fact, on times where you miss the morning time. I was just talking to Emma, who came first time for Mangalati today, sorry, Paul, that in most religions, this early morning time is really honored as the most spiritually enlightening time. This is also in Christianity, in Islam, many faiths, so it's not unusual. And one feels at that time that we begin to chant japa, it doesn't feel that normally anything else is going on. Maybe poor Brian has to pick somebody up or arrange like this, or someone has to go for it. But generally it's quiet time to begin. Well, what do you do if you haven't made it in the morning? You're sick, or you've been up the night before on Baustelle, on like a construction site. It's that you create that space where you are. We are fortunate we have the temple, but some of us mothers are not so fortunate. We're fortunate we have children, but not fortunate for very pure, concentrated japa time. Or it's like you have a little mind wandering around, a beautiful mind, talking and speaking at the same time, but not always about Krishna, So then it's harder. So what do we do? Right in this moment when we create a hybrid course like this, we have in the audience, so to say, here, people where we chant, but also offline, the possibility, and I've been hearing some good feedback that devotees have been in their own home, been able to create the environment where they can have concentrated rounds, although it's 5 o'clock in the evening. So therefore we create an environment in any time, shape or place where we can possibly always connect with the Lord. I feel sometimes our frustration, I also feel it myself, is when I've had a day where I've just got through my rounds. I've chanted, but somehow there was some disturbance. And then I thought, but isn't there always some disturbance? Something, Oh, I have a cold today, The worst disturbance I find for most, I think it's not just with Mataji's Prabhus, is if there's been a relationship or some sort of disturbance in some relationship with somebody else. Something happened that was a misunderstanding or something, and then it's there, you cannot really clear it up, but then you should begin to chant. And then you're like, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. But why did he say that? What happened here? Krishna, Krishna, Constant Rama, Rama. What? And one part of this aspect is, okay, we've spoke 2 sessions ago about the mind, parking it to the side. But the other aspect we talk about now is relationship. Now we put that other relationship on hold, and then we say, okay, now I begin this relationship with Krishna. Either you begin in a way, oh, it's already broken enough, I need to try it, or actually it's a very pure relationship, I've just forgotten about it. But that's still an angle. Now is my time with Krishna. We go further into this in this topic, but that's the point. When you pick up your bead bag, if you forget everything else, just this is my time alone with Krishna. This is my chance with Krishna. Burijan Prabhu gives a nice example, senior Prabhupada disciple. Forget if it didn't work out before. Now is your time. Now is your time. Don't beat yourself up about what has happened. Just now is the time. In this moment, you can meet Krishna. So, big words. Well, we will begin then the first. Are there any questions, by the way? Did I lose any of you? Afterwards, some of you are shy, but please come and I just check quickly on the WhatsApp group in case there are any questions. No? Please ask me the questions later if you want to. I find personally I'm also like this. In the moment, at the end of a class, somebody asks, do you have a question? And you're like, no. And then afterwards, you reflect back on what happened and you're like, oh, I actually have this question. And many people then write afterwards. This is not a problem at all. I understand. So this exercise is based on Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's guidelines. In terms of a relationship, I may think, I am his son, I am her mother, I am their leader, I'm sitting on this floor. And it says, first, our identity or position is always relative to this person or the other person. During japa, we need to see ourselves only in relationship to Krishna. It's one of those times. When I first did this a few years ago, I felt a little bit guilty. But what about my child? Or what? Because most mothers will agree that somewhere here or here, your focus is just on that child. This is probably why they say that the closest real experience of love we have in this material world is the mother to the child, because you have this. On the other side of it, beyond all of these relationships, even with our children, is this relationship to Krishna. And there's no problem with just in that time when we're beginning to chant, to understand this point, that I belong to you, Krishna. Let all other material relationships fade away in the background, and let us finally proclaim, here I am, I'm calling to you from the material world. For at least 2 hours of the day, let us be real and situate ourselves in our truest identity. And if that's too difficult, let's start at least with one moment and build upon this. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's guidelines are so. I tell them as an overview, and then it will be more like a meditation. But he says, we understand the first point. I am an atomic particle of consciousness and Krishna's eternal servant. Second, Krishna is the infinite conscious entity and my only master. Third point, the material world is a house of correction meant to reform my tendency to remain absent in our relationship. Remaining absent means I sit in front of you, but I'm not quite there. You speak to me and you talk and you give me everything, and I sit here like a void and like a blank. Sometimes it is like this with our relationship with the Lord, for whatever reason or circumstances, right? So we try to break through this. I ask, we have 2 exercises. Maybe I leave the flute music for the second exercise, and the first one we do without. Please, can I ask you all to now get into a comfortable position for chanting? You don't necessarily need to see the deity of Lord Nrsimhadev at this moment, because it is a different article. Or does anyone want some music as background? You would like? Okay. This flute music I normally play, or you have some other? Something without any words I would have, right? You can tell me another time. For this time, because of time, I go straight into. Yeah. Okay. Hope I have. So, let's see. Loud enough or louder? It's okay? Okay. So please sit tall with spine erect. And as we previously did, hold your back straight, but your lower back should be relaxed. Your head sort of pulled high as if a puppet on a string. This is to allow the prana to flow through us. Take a few deep breaths in your own time, bringing your awareness to each inhale and exhale. So please take some deep breaths in your own time. Continue to breathe consciously in this way until you find your mind becoming calm and focused. If some distracting thoughts or feelings arise, just gently let go of them and return to the concentration on your breath. Try to find your inner center. Envision in your mind's eye these truths. I am an atomic particle of consciousness and Krishna's eternal servant. I am categorically different from the body and mind. I am a tiny soul. I am an eternal, blissful spiritual being. I am a part of Krishna. Krishna is the infinite conscious entity and my only master. For so long I've invested in so many relationships, but now I understand that Krishna is my only master and my only true friend. This material world is just a house of correction, leading me to my tendency to sometimes remain absent in our relationship. But the real purpose of the material world is to teach me to connect and be present in my identity as Krishna's servant. As we try to understand or bring our spiritual identity into awareness, please let us, fixed on these thoughts, begin and allow our japa to become alive. You may want to chant and look at Lord Nrsimhadev as we chant together to remember that the Lord, Krishna as Lord Nrsimhadev, is our entity and our master. We will try to chant one round together in one voice, please a little bit louder than you may usually for the group dynamic. Wherever your mind wanders, just try to focus on this. I am an atomic particle of consciousness and Krishna's servant. Okay, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya. So in one voice. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. A little quicker. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Slowly come back together. I know we probably didn't finish a round. You can keep your hand in your bead bag. We will come slowly back because I want that we enter almost straight into the second exercise. It is said another way to enter into the presence of the Lord is by practicing mantra artha chintanam. This unleashes the intrinsic spiritual potency of the mantra. And the best way to do this, it is said, is to reflect on a verse that we feel connected with from Shastra to prompt our awareness. Are you already? Sorry, prompt a little early. Hariveni, is it possible you could just wait? You have to do more, right? You have to. It's very early, normally it's 6 o'clock. You're just until 6 o'clock? Or it's okay? Sorry. Especially online, Jay, thank you. Jay, we had to fight for the presence of the Lord, huh? This relationship with the Lord. It is said, devotees like Queen Kunti, they pray for hardship in our lives so we can see Krishna. I have to say, after some years in the temple, I pray differently. Like, dear Nrsingadev, dear Krishna, please let me see you, to understand you without these harsh, difficult moments. Please let me try to see you in this present moment. I believe he hears me because Queen Kunti, very elevated soul. Just, if I reflect on myself personally, in happiness it's easy to go and see the Lord, but in the darker moments, often, and I know I'm not alone in this as us devotees, sometimes we hide away in a corner. Sometimes we may still physically be present, but internally, it's like the light went off, or something, the dialogue is going in a different direction. So therefore, it's this moment, it's like a practice of a lifetime, it feels, to really connect ourselves no matter what. To put ourselves in front of the Lord, no matter what state of consciousness we see ourselves. I also, on the last exercise, have heard that Krishna is between every atom. It's between every molecule. I thought, well, in our bodies we also have a lot of atoms and molecules. So maybe this is also how the gurus have it. Krishna is vibrating there through every atom. If in this way we were related to Krishna in every element, would we also feel alive in every moment? It's just a side thought. Another point there, and this is a small homework for anybody who wants to go deeper in. It's always very good in this approach to use a personal approach to our japa or to any aspect of our devotional life. Therefore, that slight homework is to find a verse, look for a few verses that make you feel connected to the holy name. When you feel a connection, it may be different. What Robin likes may be different to what Oleg likes. One might need a more like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I'm part and parcel of Krishna. Someone else may need more like I look at our tongue and I think a reflection of Krishna and the gopis and how we are the servants of them. We need to all find that connecting verse. We have so many books from Prabhupada where we can find them. In this exercise, we use a quote from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 22:33. Again, we are asked to sit before the deity, so Harivenu was very, merciful to us, that he allowed the Lord to be present. Yes, please get a position when you can see the Lord. Again, we bring ourselves to focus in on the Lord. Yeah. So please take a few more breaths in and out. You can put. No, wait. When I finish talking, you can then turn the. Okay. So please find again your focus back in. My apologies for those who are already deep in. Let's go a little bit deeper. Those who are finding it difficult to concentrate or this, we go in a different angle, which is called entering the higher connection. Take some breaths in your own time, sort of inhaling and exhaling. As I've said a few times, I was never much of a fan of yoga, but I did become a fan of pranayama because I saw how it really can declutter the mind from thoughts so that one can focus in on the chanting. Kishore, wir machen eine Japa Practice. Möchtest du vielleicht ein Japa von irgendwo da benutzen oder? Ich sage in Englisch erstmal Kishorikun und ich probiere mal auch, es gibt unsere auch ein Clemens und ein paar andere Devoti, das spricht ganz wenig English, then ich mache eine Übersetzung, bevor wir beginnen. So for those who didn't understand, I will just repeat the prayer also in German also, so we can go in. So again, I feel we're already a little bit centered and focused. Please gently gaze at the deities, if you like, or close your eyes, whatever gives you a good focus. Let us appreciate that we are Krishna's internal servant. And now, let's turn to him in a mood of prayer. Krishna tomara hanai, yadi bala ekabara. Maya bandha haite Krishna tare kare para. My dear Lord Krishna, although I have forgotten you for so many long years in the material world, today I am surrendering unto you. I am your sincere and serious servant. Please engage me in your service. Mein lieber Krishna, obwohl ich habe dich vergessen vor so viele lange Jahren in dieser materiellen Welt, heute, ich gebe mich zu dir, ich bin deine ernsthaft Diener. Bitte mich in deinen Dienst engagieren, beschäftigen. Bitte mich in deinen Dienst beschäftigen. So please enter into the meaning of this verse. Try to connect. Although we have forgotten Krishna for so many long years in this material world, today, in this moment, we try to surrender to him. We plead for him to hear that we are his sincere and serious servant. And let him, through our chanting, engage us in his servant. Take a moment to feel yourself being brought into spiritual consciousness. And we begin to chant until the end of this round, okay? In one voice again, slower, and then we will fasten together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. A little faster. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna. Please finish the round that you are chanting, and when finished, please chant Kirpinara direction. Sambandha means to be connected with Krishna. Chanting in Sambandha means to chant with a feeling of relationship to Krishna. It means to know deeply from the heart that you are an eternal soul and that Krishna is your master. Only if you have this attitude can you experience the real holy name. Sometimes it can be that we do these practices and it can feel that it's an artificial setup. We are with people we do and we don't know. Some devotees look more deeper into the practice, some a little less. But the point is these practices are there also to practice alone. And at other times, it could be that in a quiet room by yourself you feel closely connected. It could be that in a group of other devotees one feels also that momentum. The main point there is trying to put your heart and your mind into the practice as well. and that connection that we feel in between. Does anyone have any feedback for how that any of those exercises went for them? I look also on the online group to see if there are any responses. For now, not, but maybe they will write because I just asked a question. How was it for you, Robin? Because the microphone's near you, yeah, there's only one Robin in the room. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I'm at the moment really tired and exhausted, so it's a little difficult. And but in the first exercise, when you described that we are like a part and parcel of Krishna, and we just breathed in and out, I actually could really feel it for a moment. It was really somehow feeling like me as a part, like funneling to this bigger thing above us, somehow.
The big, like the cosmic, the element of Krishna, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Being
a part and parcel of this bigger thing, and it was really like a funnel like this. Could feel that connection. But then, actually, with the chanting, I felt a little distracted. But this is actually in my private...
Did you find that the first exercise worked better for you than the second? The second was about remembering that we are a sincere and serious servant of the Lord. Or, like, from a distance, but I don't know, it felt like you were distracted, but then in one moment you caught it. And in one moment, somehow you and Oleg had the same sort of face where you both looked like you were in some sort of flow. I'm not saying that you stayed in it, I don't know, but this is how it then appeared in that moment. I don't know if it's like this.
Yeah, in the moment I actually felt quite distracted mind. But afterwards, when the exercise is finished, I could feel like a little change in consciousness then, before and after exercise. Yeah,
that's nice.
Yeah. I'm not a good example at the moment.
This is a perfect example because it can also make people feel a little terrible. You do an exercise and you didn't quite feel it, and everyone says, oh, it was amazing, it was great, and you're like, well, I wasn't, quite there on this one. It's perfectly understandable. It's like some people, this first exercise we did from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, sometimes I felt, oh my goodness, no, this is just too much. It was just too much cosmic universe. They were just too floating. And then they could relate to the second. And other people are the other way around. So this is, again, just, ways, if somehow you felt that it was a nice experience, at least the mind caught for a moment this idea of being small and part. It's something to meditate on when you're feeling more refreshed, and awake. Then it's like... The main focus there is just one way or the other to keep it on Krishna, not on all the other random things, That's some way, to keep it. And it's like I think I'm a bit older but in the old, most people had some radios, or when you grow up. And it's like you're trying to catch a signal, right? You try to catch it, but sometimes it's, and then you hear the singing. And then at one moment, you get it. You get the right thing, and then you can listen to the music. But in between, do you look blank or you understand? Maybe Emma is really too young for a radio, You know it, huh? But it's, thank you. She's 19, she's really our... But you also understand this tuning point. And I find that sometimes with our chanting, it's like this is tuning. And other times it can really feel like this blurred radio signal. You know what I mean? Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. This is the distracted mind. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. And at one moment, it won't be like this. No? It's like, when all the fools... Yes, so this is the point, that it doesn't matter if it didn't work because we're in the process. Like, Prabhupada, we hear this quote where not clean or in the shower. We're in a process. We're in a process. So that's nice. I thank you for your honesty. Oh, okay. Kavita wrote, I feel as if I'm swaying in the first part. In the second part of Japa, I felt me in Krishna's lotus feet, washing it with sense and serving him. Oh, very nice. Sometimes I do also wonder if you're homed in and in your private space, with the darshan of Lord Nrsimhadev, it can be easier because one feels sometimes safe in one's environment too. Is there any other experiences? How was it for you, Imma, our today first time chanting? Were you wondering, what are we doing here? What's going on? Or are you, what's happening here? What people like, you know? Thank you, Mariana.
Yeah, well, it's pretty hard for me to just focus just on the words.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a lot of thoughts coming in and out while chanting. So it's I don't know what to say. It's just I'm trying to focus, and sometimes there's some thoughts, and I'm trying to get back to focus on the words. And actually, the first time I was doing it with closed eyes, and that didn't work so well. But the second time I was just staring at Krishna, and that actually helped me. That even if I had other thoughts, it was about him.
Wow.
So.
I mean, his presence as Nishingadev is quite strong also, it's nice. This is very, very nice, Emma, because it's like you perfectly describe our path in the material world. There is always this prayer. I think it's not just Ramananda, but a prayer that's done before the puja of wandering for countless lifetimes through this material world until, by the mercy of Guru, we sort of stumbled upon this relationship, or broken, remembered that we had some sort of relationship with Krishna, a broken relationship with the Lord. And now we want to repair that. This is an interesting analog because it's moments we will feel and we will catch the meditation and the beat, and other times it's like this wandering. But it's also very nice that you said when you could just focus on the Nishingadev. We are extremely lucky here in this way, you know. It all goes wrong and we can just look and there is Lord Nishingadev, so it's very nice. Nicole, I don't know if I just have the first part of your name, wrote, she've enjoyed the practice today with a lot of goosebumps and tears. This is what I say when you're in your private space, right? One can allow also this connection to be gone. Could it be when I first read this part of that I have been wandering for so many years in this lifetime, and I am trying to reconnect with Krishna, it made me also feel very teary, because it's really like, it's like a bittersweet feeling. The sweetness is that we're trying, but bitter is, so long. And then internally, sometimes this dialogue, do I really want this relationship? I do, or maybe, yes, you know, it's like this sometimes. She wrote, Nishingadev is so beautiful in blue colors. I felt synchronized today. Krishna is blue and Nishingadev is also blue. So it's very nice. Yeah. Please try to use this exercise in the next days. It could be that you found, this idea of what are our 3 B's? Who am I? Bhakta, the devotee. To whom do I relate? Bhagavan, Krishna. And where does this relationship take place? Bhakti. Yes, so in that process, this element of connection will infiltrate our life if we allow it to. When we are in odd places, like our Robin on a construction site, taking a floor down in a very icy, cold Bavarian forest. For Robin, it's not cold. For the rest of us, it feels very cold.
The sun was shining. It was really warm.
So the sun is the Krishna. Could you think of Krishna in that moment? Were you able to think of the Lord? I have some.
At the moment, I'm, like I said, not so focused.
No, I meant on this construction.
I know, but it's since 1-2 weeks because it's quite exhausting.
Yeah.
In the first week, I was feeling really connected, and then it slowly.
I ask you, Robin, because I really appreciate your honesty. If we are not honest with how we are doing in our lives, we cannot move so much forward, right?
Yeah.
So in this way, it is like this for so many devotees that I see or I speak to, that, yes, Jay, First day in the temple, Jai, give it all over to Krishna and the Shingadev, Jai, Jai, Jai. And then over some time, it's like fading away, and there was this problem, and there was no prasadam today, and then this happened, what happened here, and this, and isn't it all about Krishna, but where is he, what's going on? It's like this, huh? And this, like, wow, I just whacked my finger with the hammer, like, where is this? It's hard sometimes. Actual, like, the normal material life is hard, and basically we're breaking those walls down to really see where is Krishna in those relationships, where is really Krishna in these times when we were doing service for the temple, so it was service, but where is Krishna sometimes?
So, okay, when I was one time alone on a construction site, I was like, the first 2, 3, 4 hours, my mind was like really critical. So, what am I doing this for and so. And then I realized I'm doing that actually for Govinda.
For Govinda. It is like this.
And then the last 2, 3 hours, then I was getting in a flowy state, and then it worked fine, and was like, okay, I can finish now, but I can do that. Then I did that, and I was like, okay, now I can finish. Oh, no, but I can do that. So the first 2, 3 hours were tough. Mind was distracting, and then the last 2, 3, 4 hours were like really
in a flow.
Yeah, that I could not stop myself.
And we spoke about that last time also in our chanting. When you just chant around or something, it's like you're at the beginning of the lake, and then you get a little bit in the flow. So you're like knee level into the water. And at one moment it begins to float. That's like you're floating on the water. It can also be in service. At one moment it just feels some synergy and it's floating. But to get there, one has to then enter that uncomfortable stage of, do I want to get into this water? Do I want to go deeper in what I'm doing in my life? And, another time you may have tried and it didn't work out. And you're like, no, maybe it's not. Oh, just try again to enter. The last point I wanted to make was, in the material world, when we say this word, okay, you're this person's servant, it doesn't have a good connotation, or it doesn't have a good, you're the servant. It's almost in the line with you being the slave of someone, you're his servant, because we also don't even use it so much in modern language, like in old English homes, you would have been like, oh yeah, they are the servants of the house, the butler and this person. But we use it less and less because it's seen in the material world as a degraded state. But this is where also understanding has to flow away. Our vision of a servant can be seen, for example, Lord Ram is taken as, Hanuman is taken as a very wonderful servant of Lord Ram. He's not there thinking, oh, I'm just this, just this, it's like, I will serve Lord Ram. This is my very joy and purpose of life, to the point that in his heart, torn open is just sort of Sita Ram. This is the idea actually of a servant. A servant in our Bhakti Yoga tradition is actually one of the sweetest moments. Somebody that you have a most beloved relationship with. It's so natural. If a very close friend comes, immediately when they come, you said, oh, put your feet up. Can I take your coat? Would you like a drink? Just relax. Just come here. Tell me what's going on for you. It's natural. At one moment, it's also like this in a relationship with the Lord. That's the part. It's not servant just in the fact of like, okay, right, he told me I have to do this. I have to go and do this. And this is like this. And in this mood also I remembered this, Robin, because when you said I'm doing this for Govinda Dev, you said it in a sweet way, not in this like, yeah, I'm doing this. And in that moment, this is the lines of our, the mission of Lord Chaitanya. We are the servant of the servant of the servant. It follows in this. And naturally then the sweetness can then flow. There's another meditation. What does it mean to be a servant of the Lord? What does it mean? And I urge you please to see the sweet element behind it. Not any connotation it may be like, because this will also affect our daily life. Actually, the word is used always as bhakta, bhakta, devotee, a devotee of the Lord. And sometimes I being a little cynical when someone came and said, "Oh, this is a devotee," and I'm like, he doesn't know. Are you sure? Are you sure he's devoted to the Lord? Devotee. One should be devoted, devoted. Otherwise, why don't we park that phrase for a little bit later? What is it to be a devotee, to devote oneself to somebody in that eternal capacity? And that's what we talk about, connecting with a real person, that person being the Supreme Being, Krishna. Not something just in the air, something floating about. Yes, okay, the Lord is everywhere, but a real person, a supreme person. I feel passionately about this topic because there's certainly in my humble years, or not so humble years, in spiritual life, there were times where one feels it internally a little bit fading away, right? I feel quite alive, a little tired, of course, but alive. But moments where it's fading away, and those moments of fading away was when I was just doing, they told me to do this. Let me do it I do it like this. And let me do this. There was no joy in what I was doing. There was also no connection to this relationship. Essentially, the japa will reunite us with the Lord. So I finished off from Shushmita. She wrote, it was wonderful. In the first part, I was already in a flow, and the second part was also good, but it took some time to get back in the flow. My apologies. It was a very good reminder to bring back the mind to the universal truth. We are all part and parcel of Krishna, getting rid of false identity by asking the questions of who am I, why am I here, and then meditating on the fact that Krishna also exists in every atom. Thank you. Okay. So this was a nice summary. I have my final quote. The chanting of the holy name of Krishna expands the blissful ocean of transcendental life. It gives a cooling effect to everyone and enables one to taste full nectar at every step. From C.C. Anjalila. Hare Krishna, thank you so much. Thank you. Training. Are you our 10 of? So anyone else online or later, please write any more questions. Thank you very much for your encouraging